It was here in this bountiful canyon, just 3.5 miles up the road from the Bountiful Bee, that the man brought the body of Amelia and dumped it here by the creek. At this point, investigators are unclear of just how the fire started, but one woman said she saw kids playing with fireworks right over here. To give you an idea of just how strong the winds blew, this motel sign right next door to the Red Iguana is held up by 5 steel poles. The wind blew so hard that the poles blew right into the gutter of the Red Iguana. It's the hottest day of the year. Next on 2 News at 5, we'll tell you what people are doing to beat the heat and how long this warm weather is going to stick around. 2 young children were strapped into the back seat of the van. They were treated here on the side of the road when they were then rushed to the hospital. The Shriners are in parades all over Utah, but this year the flying carpets will be noticeably absent. It was here at the South Salt Lake Maverick dumpster that the employee found the wallet of the missing man. After the parade, thousands of kids came down to the city council building to enjoy a little R&R. Because the fire was a 6-alarm blaze, firefighters from all over the Wasatch Front were called in to help fight the fire. Police believe that this red truck was turning left when it hit the black van. The van then skidded into the side of the road. Organizers are collecting everything from bug spray to bottled water to Gatorade, anything that can help the volunteers in their search for the lost Boy Scout. In front of the Salt Palace, the sidewalks are quiet now, but earlier on, it was a completely different story. There were those for President Bush,
Shame on Bush! Shame on Bush!
And those against him.
Shame on Bush! Shame on...
As the president visited the Beehive State, Salt Lake Mayor Rocky Anderson called for a protest against the Bush administration. Hundreds of people showed up and voiced their opinion.
This war is ridiculous. It's been screwed up from word one. And I think we as Americans need to rally, and we need to let this king know, the emperor has no clothes. His policies have failed. He's failed as our president, and he's failed our troops.
Why don't our government worry about number one first and then forget about all these other countries? What has Iraq ever done for us? Nothing. What has Afghanistan ever done for us? Nothing.
Others came to show support for the president. Aaron Red just returned home from serving in Iraq for a year and says that for the most part, the troops agree with President Bush.
The people in Iraq are supportive of us, and this kind of thing right here is giving encouragement and aid and comfort to our enemy.
Bruno Diskokovsky, a veteran of foreign war, believes that the anti-Bush protesters are a disgrace.
They're 99 cents short of $1. They don't know what they're demonstrating against. If they want to live in constant fear, fine. As far as these people and the veterans, let's stop the terrorists now.
The protests in front of the Salt Palace lasted for about 2 hours. The anti-Bush protesters then went to Pioneer Park, and the pro-Bush protesters went to Liberty Park. In Salt Lake City, Nate Eaton, 2 News.
We love the veterans.
It's very upsetting.
8 of Utah's most recognizable go-karts are gone.
For some reason, somebody decided they needed to break into this thing, and then they stole the flying carpets.
The flying carpets are go-karts that the Salt Lake Shriners ride in parades. Last week, after the 4th of July celebrations, the Shriners put the carts in this trailer to store until the 24th of July.
Somebody came through here, probably during the middle of the night, pried open this door and lock, and proceeded to take 8 of our flying carpets.
The Shriners are in parades all over Utah, but this year the flying carpets will be noticeably absent. Shriners ride to help raise awareness for Shriners Children's Hospital. They say that having the go-karts stolen is more than just missing parades.
We are out trying to promote Shriners Hospital, and it's a way that, we're able to do an outreach into the public.
The riders say they don't care who took the carts, and they're not looking to press charges. They just want their go-karts back.
The only thing we want is give us the carts back. Let us get back to our fun.
In Salt Lake City, Nate Eaton, 2 News.
There's a mom out there who doesn't know where her son is. So I just wanted them to know in a small way that I'm thinking of them.
Mothers and fathers, boys and girls, hundreds of caring Utahns came for one reason.
Just to help out.
For the past 3 days, volunteers have been searching for Brennan Hawkins. With the long hours and hot weather, B98.7 morning DJs Todd and Aaron decided to organize a donation drive to help the volunteers.
We're bringing Brennan home. This is going to be a happy ending. There's no question, there's no thought. This is it. We're bringing Brennan home.
Organizers are collecting everything from bug spray to bottled water to Gatorade, anything that can help the volunteers in their search for the lost Boy Scout.
If it's your GPS or your Gatorade that makes him go a half mile longer and find Brennan, then we all brought him home.
Organizers are hoping to fill 3 large semi-trucks with goods. Donations are being accepted until 3 o'clock this afternoon when the trucks will depart for the high Uintas. In Salt Lake City, Nate Eaton, 2 News. It started off as a nice quiet evening, hanging out on the lawn. When suddenly the wind shifted, that's when things got ugly.
It's time to go. They just told my wife that they want us to leave, so. We're just trying to get everybody out of the area because the fire's coming up over the hill. We'll have about 20 minutes before the fire reaches this area.
And it looked like things were getting everything was dying down about an hour ago. Then all of a sudden it just came right at us. The sirens went off, and we knew that just to get out.
My wife is with me, and my children are safe, and this is just a thing. It's just a house full of things, and it can be replaced, so time to go.
Live from the Main Street Studios, this is 2 News.
Good evening and welcome to 2 News at 6 o'clock. I'm Nate Eaton. We begin with a developing story in Virginia. Chief Justice William Rehnquist has had a medical emergency. He was rushed to the hospital this afternoon with a fever and has just been released. Now, this is the second medical emergency that Rehnquist has received this summer. He suffers from thyroid cancer, and a spokesman says that he went in for tests and observation. Rehnquist recently said that he does not plan on retiring from the Supreme Court anytime soon. Almost 1 year after he disappeared in the high Uinta Mountains, 12-year-old Garrett Bardsley is again the focus of a large-scale search. He disappeared last August 20th after walking back to camp alone to change his wet shoes and socks. Tonight, the wilderness around Fort A.P. Hill in Virginia looks almost barren after nearly 50,000 Boy Scouts shipped out. The National Jamboree came to a close and was marked with a sense of tragedy. Last week, Scout leaders were electrocuted, 4 of them, as they were setting up a tent. Officials say that one of the metal poles accidentally touched a power line. More than 300,000 Scouts also got sick during the outing because of the extreme heat. The next Jamboree won't be held until 2010. Well, that Jamboree officially ended yesterday, and hundreds of Utah Scouts and their leaders just returned back home this afternoon. Isa Arnita was there for the homecoming and has this report. The man who allegedly killed Brooke Wilberger was back in court today to face numerous criminal charges relating to her disappearance. 39-year-old Joel Patrick Courtney appeared in an Albuquerque courtroom to be formally charged. Now, he faces 19 counts of aggravated murder, kidnapping, rape, and sodomy, all of which were filed by authorities in Oregon. Even though police haven't found a body yet, they do believe that Wilberger was killed. Courtney will reportedly fight extradition to Oregon, where he could face the death penalty in Brooke's murder. A fugitive is still on the loose tonight after escaping from police in the desert near Moab. On Tuesday, Grand County authorities tried to arrest 38-year-old Kenneth Langford for violating his parole, but he managed to get away by driving through an alfalfa field and then escaping on foot when his car got stuck in the mud. A massive search with thermal imaging and canine units has turned up nothing. Here's what Langford looks like. He's believed to be armed and dangerous, and if you have any information about his whereabouts, call the Moab Police Department. Meantime, it's been nearly a week since anyone saw 35-year-old Brian Butis, who is still missing in southern Utah. Thanks. He went hiking last weekend in the Oak Grove area near Leeds, but never returned. Dozens of searchers have been scouring various trails, focusing on thick vegetation, rugged terrain, and steep cliffs. Well, in the Middle East, a teenage gunman was beaten to death after he launched a sudden attack in Israel today. The boy, reportedly dressed as an Israeli soldier, and opened fire on a bus. 4 passengers were killed. The teen was then killed by an angry mob. After making a dangerous spacewalk yesterday, astronauts on the shuttle Discovery now get to rest a little easier. NASA has told the crew that it won't have to conduct any more spacewalks to repair the underside of the shuttle. They were considering another excursion to fix a torn thermal blanket, but mission controllers say it just doesn't pose a major threat. A DEA agent who faces charges of theft and forgery says his wife is the only one to blame. Jeff Clark and his wife Tanya were charged with stealing money from people who believed that she was dying of cancer. Christina Flores has the story. When asked if Jeff ever accompanied his wife to see the doctor or was with her when she underwent treatment, his attorney only said that that will all come out in court. A toddler is dead tonight after his mother apparently forgot about him, leaving him locked inside a car under the hot Texas sun. Apparently the woman forgot to drop off the 1-year-old at the daycare. Instead, she left him in the back seat of her car while she went to work. Later, when she went to pick him up, she realized her tragic mistake and found him unconscious in the car. A woman is in big trouble with the government tonight after trying to pull off a dangerous stunt in the sky. Police say she tried to open the door of a United Airlines jet just moments before it landed in Seattle. She couldn't get the door open, but did manage to trigger an alarm in the cockpit. She was arrested and could face federal charges. Amazingly, the passengers who witnessed the stunt did nothing. An internet security company is settling charges that it supplied free online security software, but it actually attached adware of its own. According to the Federal Trade Commission, advertising.com offered free security software called SpyBlast to protect computers from hackers. But they failed to tell users that adware was being placed on PCs while SpyBlast was being downloaded. Adware is the software that causes pop-up ads and follows a computer user's activity while they're online. Advertising.com is now required clearly to tell customers when they sign up for the security spyware that adware will be included on their computers. Mother Nature wasn't so kind this week to an unlucky church in Weber County, which was hit by a sudden rush of water.
We could not get the doors open to the building because there was so much water in the courtyard areas and in front of the doors.
After this week's storm along the Wasatch Front, floodwaters flowed right down 33rd Street in Ogden and straight into the St. Paul Lutheran Church. It caused some damage to the building's furnaces and air conditioners, but nothing more. The water level rose as high as 3 feet in some areas of the church. Fortunately, no one was hurt. Well, luckily, the weather has been a bit nicer over the past few days, but will it stay that way? Roland Stedham will tell us next in our Fresh Air Forecast.